Buenas, bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo. Hoy vamos a continuar con la misión principal en la que teníamos que conseguir un regulador de energía para nuestra nave. Si recordáis, el alcalde nos dijo que fuésemos a la central geotérmica para cortarles la energía a los que se habían ido de la ciudad y así obligarlos a volver a la ciudad. De ese modo nosotros podríamos conseguir el regulador de corriente que habíamos apagado. Sin embargo, nuestra acompañante nos pidió que antes de hacer nada viniésemos a hablar con el vicario. Y eso es lo que vamos a hacer.
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar Maximilian de Soto at your service. Or Vicar Max if you're the sort who prefers brevity. And Ms. Holcomb as well. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
Just tagging along, Vicar de Soto. Don't mind me.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all. Spiritual counseling? This season's tossball predictions? The quickest way out of town? They who are not satisfied with their work are satisfied with nothing. No? How about, work fortifies the spirit. True exhaustion awaits idle hands. Selling? No. It is free for all who seek it. I'm sorry you don't find these tried and true words of wisdom to your liking. Have you? These people need something, anything they can grasp to survive. Delving into the metaphysical minutiae of the grand plan would be nonsense to them, if not worse. My apologies. The townsfolk are having a tough time of it, and it's been difficult for me to enrich their lives. They are good people. It is just difficult to reach them.
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked you to do? Depriving them of safety from the marauders and wildlife. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk. Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold. Not if things are left to stand as they are. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your way to the geothermal plant. It is not as safe as you might assume. The marauders I met when I ventured outside the walls might agree with you. Bastards snuck up on me while I was dutifully hunting for a banned book in a collector's library. Barely escaped with my life. But you see, one of the reasons I transferred here was to get my hands on that heretical text. If you managed to acquire it for me, I'd pay quite a handsome sum for the book. It's a handwritten journal, a faded blue cover with the name M. Bakonu handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious,
Sí, iré a por su libro. Una misión más significa más experiencia. Respecto al
Thank you.
consejo que me ha dado,
If you retrieve it,
la
you can
verdad es que
always find me
no creo que
here.
me haya dicho nada especial. Si me hubiera dado una tercera solución, hubiera sido de gran ayuda. Ya estamos en los laboratorios botánicos para entregarle el mensaje a Adelaide.
I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along.
Qué simpática.
Answers, huh? You must be one of those philosophicals. Already got ourselves one of those. Yeah, that's us. And you can tell Thompson we're doing just fine by ourselves. If you're gonna start wandering around my camp, know that I got my sights on you. Over in the hothouse, tending crop. Enough with the questions. No offense, but I've got a lot on my mind. You don't know what enough with the questions means? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if marauders got to her. It's not like Zoe to go wandering. Figured she might be out scavenging, but that ain't exactly her talent. Can't imagine where she's gone. Vale's a wide place. She could be anywhere. Appreciate it. Honest. I'll tell you what I can. Well, enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of her mind, he does. She was lazy and thoughtless, but she's still one of our own. Vex me. If she told anybody, they ain't telling me. I'd check her room, but I got yelled at for snooping once already. Little ways ago, she was always obsessing over her serial dramas. Wanted to see what the fuss was about. What is it?
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear? I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned. A home for anyone who's ever turned their backs on Edgewater. A home for those of us with nowhere left to go and nothing to lose. So, like the spores of the puffball, cast on the wind and alighting on fresh soil, we put down new roots. It is an unpleasant story, dear. But the short of it is that sometimes one wakes up and realizes the place that was once her home for much of her life has changed. The home in which we spent our lives has left us behind, and so we must move on. And that is as much as I will say on the subject. Reed Thompson, you here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then? I can't say I blame you. Reed is positively soporific. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves. He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans? Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip them out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do. You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scrap Spacer's choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
I'm all right. I ain't so fragile.
That was unkind of me. I'm sorry, dear. Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives.
No parece que le importe mucho que Frontemar se vaya a pique, con tal de que su grupo, su ciudad, crezca. Parece que siente bastante rencor.
I trust you will listen to your conscience.
Ya estamos en la central geotérmica.
I've always wanted to poke around in here.
System.
Incoming! Nice.
System.
Here we go. Nice one. We're pretty good at this. The control room should be ahead somewhere and a touch to the right. I hope we're doing the right thing. Got it. Inside voices. Here we go! Nice one! Everyone all right? we've done. 3 switches. That'll be easy enough. Got it. Heads down. Here we go! Woohoo! Good one! Everyone all right? Two more. What'll happen to Miss McDevitt's folk if we send power to the Veil?
Self-diagnostics complete. Navigation systems operational. Combat systems operational. It's not the best choice. It's the spacer's choice. Hostile actions towards spacer's choice mechanics are contrary to logical directive. Conclusion: all hostile automechanicals must be defective in compliance with spacer's choice policy. All defective automechanicals must be permanently dismantled. Please allow me to assist. Affirmative. Mechanicide protocols loaded. Awaiting confirmation.
Go away, Phantom! Go away, Phantom! You're not real. You're not real. Get away! Get away!
Mind the steam. You're liable to get scalded.
Unexpected. Reminder, please pay your gravesite fees. Process invest. Queued security actions.
Processing the sweeping key area.
Where'd to go? If we send the power to Miss McDevitt, what happens to the veil?
Alt. Searching for unauthorized.
That's the last of them! Last. I'm not sure what the ride is. All I know is the decision's final. Once we do this, there's no going back. Excuse me, ma'am. Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you, do you understand what you're about to do? I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished. Miss McDevitt's built something beautiful. Somehow, she's talked the ground into giving life again. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred? Well, that sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way. Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something. Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
Me ha sorprendido mucho que me haya dicho que no quiere que le quite la energía a Frontemar, teniendo en cuenta que en esa ciudad a poca gente le agrada Parvati. Es decir, no es muy aceptada o muy querida por la comunidad. Y ahora tenemos que tomar la decisión final e irreversible. El redireccionamiento del suministro es un procedimiento irreversible. Se veía venir. Por una parte tenemos a Frontemar y por otra los laboratorios botánicos. En Frontemar ya sabemos que es una comunidad dirigida por una corporativa en la que todos los ciudadanos parecen tener lavado el cerebro. Más que trabajadores, parecen ser esclavos de esa corporativa a los que no les dan ni siquiera servicios mínimos de sanidad, como hemos podido ver. Algunos se han enfermado de la peste y no les han dado medicamentos para curarse. Las lápidas las tienen que alquilar, ojo, que eso sí que me sorprendió bastante. Es decir, no tienen derechos ninguno. son únicamente esclavos a los que desde pequeños se les enseña a trabajar y nada más, y a no quejarse. Por otra parte están los laboratorios botánicos, de los que forman parte todas aquellas personas que se han ido, por el motivo que sea, de Frontemar, y ahora mismo están dirigidos por Adelaide, quien parece guardar mucho rencor a Frontemar y al alcalde, al tal Reed. Aunque si bien es cierto que esta mujer ha procurado medicamentos y ha curado a personas enfermas de la peste. Por tanto, creo que voy a elegir dar la energía a los laboratorios botánicos, aunque eso seguramente me va a granjear el odio de Frontemar y posiblemente haya represalias. Acabamos de tomar la decisión, ya no hay marcha atrás. Ahora tenemos que volver a Frontemar para coger el regulador de energía. ¿Qué encontraremos allí? Enseguida lo averiguaremos. Ya estamos otra vez en Frontemar, en la fábrica de supuestamente atún, porque a mí no se me va de la cabeza que no había atún en las latas.
Edgewater has suffered a cavalcade of disasters, plague, marauders, desertion. Then you wandered in town. And I was so damn sure our luck was starting to turn. I never knew how right I was. Just answer one question for me. Why'd you do it? Is that right? I'm dying to hear this. Please, educate me. Liberating? Edgewater is my home. The only home I've ever had. I put down roots here, gave decades of my life to this place. I never asked to be liberated. Whatever you were hoping to find down here, I advise you to turn around and leave. I have got guards posted with orders to fire on you. Edgewater's dead. Our cannery's dead. Adelaide's deserters are never coming back. Spacer's Choice will shut us down before long. Some of us will die of illness by then. Some will move on. Some will starve. And as for me, I will tender my resignation, whereupon I shall be processed and then duly imprisoned for gross incompetence. Apologies won't give us our lives back, but for what it's worth, I am sorry too.
Como dice un refrán castellano, no hay más ciego que aquel quien no quiere ver. Este se cree que vive bien aquí, pero realmente vive controlado. Lo que pasa es que él vive en la cúspide de todo y entonces es el que mejor vive. A ver, si voy por aquí abajo directamente, no tengo con lo que taparme. O sea, es decir, no me puedo poner a cubierto. Toma ya, en toda la morra. Genial, queda uno. Misión no superada. Pues bueno, ¿qué se le va a hacer? Realmente debería haber completado primero todas las misiones secundarias y después haber completado esta. Pero ahora ya no hay marcha atrás.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome! Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. Edgewater won't last another season without power, but that don't change the fact that I'm indentured to Spacer's Choice. Company expects me back at my post. I have imagined it, but until you came along, I never thought I had the choice. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves from my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think? Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, ma'am. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Captain, I have detected that the town of Edgewater is now without power. I appreciate you doing your part to hasten their demise. What can I do for you, Captain? Do you know how to install a power regulator? Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event of another catastrophic engine failure. Our engine room is located behind you, across the cargo bay, up the ladders.
Ahora sí hemos completado del todo la misión, ya hemos puesto el regulador de corriente, así que ya podemos salir de este planeta.
What can I do for you, Captain? All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the unreliable into low altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities.
Antes de salir del planeta, voy a seguir investigando a ver si me he dejado algo, alguna misión secundaria que pueda terminar, porque las de Frontemar ya tengo asumido que no las voy a poder terminar. Voy a dejar aquí el episodio de hoy. Decidme en comentarios qué os ha parecido, si os ha gustado apoyadlo, y si vais a comenzar a jugar este videojuego, ya sabéis que es mejor finalizar las misiones secundarias antes de completar esta misión. Nos vemos en otro episodio. Saludos.